Welcome to the JJ Virgin Lifestyle Show with celebrity nutrition expert, fitness Hall of Famer, and 4-time New York Times bestselling author, JJ Virgin. JJ is a warrior mom whose knowledge and expertise have helped change hundreds of thousands of lives with over 3.5 million podcast downloads and appearances on Dr. Phil, Dr. Oz, The Today Show, Rachel Ray, Larry King Live.
Whoa. This show is about you, not about me. I want to help you find practical, real-world ways to dial in your health and mindset so you can finally lose that weight and feel strong and energized. Stop settling for less than your personal best. It's time to find out how to look and feel better than ever. And I'll be right here with you the whole way. Hey there, it's JJ, and I am going to be talking about something that I get asked about all the time, and that is essential oils. This is something that I used when my son Grant was in the hospital. It was actually one of the first things that we did. One of my friends, a brain trauma doc from Cedars-Sinai, came over with essential oils, Dr. Ann Meyer, just one of my angels. And we started using them. It was one of the first things that I saw Grant start to respond to. And that showed me, before I thought these were nice little things you used when you were getting a massage. I was like, oh, these actually are super powerful. So we have a super cool guest today who's going to share with us how to use these for energy, for sugar cravings. Yes, for sugar cravings. You're going to replace your cookies with essential oils. And even for balancing hormones. I have Dr. Mariza Snyder in the house. She's a wellness practitioner and the author of 6 books: the DASH Diet Cookbook, the Smart Mom's Guide to Essential Oils, which you will definitely want to get your hands on, the Low Glycemic Index Slow Cooker, the Antioxidant Counter, the Water Infusion Detox Book, and the Matcha Miracle. I had no idea she wrote all these books. Man, she's got a new book coming out too, I'm excited about. For the past 9 years, she's been lecturing all over wellness centers, hospitals, conferences, corporations on hormonal health and essential oils, nutrition, and detox. She also created the Women's Balance Summit, an online event designed to empower women to create the health and life they deserve. And again, we are going to be deep diving into essential oils. And she has done some recipes for you that are incredible. All righty, Dr. Mariza Snyder, welcome to the show. I'm super excited to have you here.
Oh, thank you, JJ, for having me. You know, it's always a pleasure to be in your company.
Yes. Well, we are talking about things that are super big to my community, how to kill sugar cravings and boost energy. But we're going to take a little different slant today because I know we're going to be talking some about essential oils, which are so hot right now. How did you get into them?
That's a great question. So I got into them because I was looking for something that was fast and effective, like so many of the women that I get to work with. And one of the things that I learned when I was doing my research on the oils is that they are not only phenomenal for mood boosting and kind of emotional well-being, but also I kind of treat them a little bit like a cheat. I know we're talking about cravings and energy, and there's so often when I kind of call those emergency moments, those moments at like 11 a.m. or 3 p.m. where you are feeling that craving, you're having that moment where you're exhausted and you really feel like you need to reach for something that's going to get the job done, that's going to help you kind of get out of that brain fog moment. And so we often choose things that are not really going to serve us in the long run, like sugar, coffee, whatever, pick your poison. And I have found that oils, they can come to the rescue as quicker actually than like eating a candy bar or drinking a shot of espresso. Like they work that fast. So for me, I feel like they really bridge the gap for women in particular to create those healthy habits so we don't fall into those kind of that vicious cycle of either sugar crashes or stressful moments, kind of whatever is causing and wreaking havoc in our body.
Yeah, because you're using them for sugar cravings, energy, and hormone balance too.
Yeah, absolutely. And even stress. And I think one of the biggest reasons why I always think of cravings as an unmet need. Either we're exhausted, we're stressed out, we have emotional issues that we're working through, or, you know, or we feel like we deserve something, we deserve a treat. And usually, you know, we are grabbing for something that's not going to serve. And this is your audience in a nutshell too. And we tend to not make the best choices in those 3 minutes when that craving hits. And I love that we can use something instead that's completely calorie free and is really going to get us the same result that we get when we eat the thing or we drink the thing that isn't serving.
Yes, this is fantastic. So what we need to do is take your cookies out of the house and put some essential oils where the cookies would be. There
exactly.
you go.
That's exactly what it is. And honestly, not even just where the cookie, because we don't keep, and I know you don't keep cookies. I've got in the house. No cookies in the house. That's the big thing, right? You got to keep, I have a lot of friends, even my mom doesn't want to come over here because she knows it's a sugar-free zone in this house. And it's only healthy foods. There's no snacks in this house. There's no chips, you know. But I keep oils by my desk because that's usually when I've been working at the computer too long, you know, whatever project that I'm working on at the moment. And I kind of just get that glazed over feeling where I feel like I need a little bit more energy, like an instant boost, or to get over that kind of fog. I stand up, I grab a blend. Usually it's a combination of citrus, like a wild orange and peppermint, breathe it in, kind of just take a minute to reset. And I've got my focus back. I feel like I'm able to get back into work, and I am cheat free. I didn't get myself into trouble. Which, you know, leads to all kinds of issues. You know, we're talking about weight resistance, leading to sugar crashes, insulin insensitivity. I mean, there's a lot of things that happen when we rely on snacks and sugar to get us back in focus.
So you said that, and I instantly picked up a blend and started sniffing it. I wish we had video right now. It'd be hilarious. So let's talk about why people get sugar cravings.
Absolutely.
Okay. So like, what are some of the things that you're seeing out there? I know that stress is definitely one. Let's talk about that.
Yes. So personally, I think that stress and sugar can become an extremely vicious cycle that feed on one another. I was working with this really lovely single mom. She's got 2 kids in like elementary school. She's a college professor. And basically at 2 p.m., she's nibbling on chocolate until she gets home. And then each night she finishes out her night with 2 glasses of red wine and her favorite chocolate bar. And the reason why she's doing it is because she is just trying to deal with the stresses of being a mom and the stresses of all of the research work that she's doing at the college. And that is her way of coping. But the problem is that she's coming to me with belly fat, brain fog, fatigue. And really what it comes down to is chronic stress is sabotaging her willpower. And there's research recently that came out that 1/3 of women interviewed admitted to struggling with willpower when it comes to sugar. And more than half of them said that in order to improve their willpower, that they would need to stop feeling burnout or consistently fatigued. And so unless they change a lot of what's going on with their life, their job or whatever's driving those stressors, you know, that willpower situation is just going to keep on coming into play. And so, and a big part of that is cortisol. I find that cortisol basically hijacks the prefrontal cortex and really doesn't allow us to create those healthy habits. And that's where I feel like oils really can come into play. So instead of grabbing for a coffee or for a snack, a Kind bar, whatever it is that you consider that gets you out of that danger zone, I think that we could be using oils to mitigate stress instead of feeding that, what I call the stress monster.
Well, let's get into some very specific tactics, like, someone is craving sugar. Like which oils specifically would you say?
So I have
in your book, I know you've got this book, The Smart Mom's Guide to Essential Oils, right?
Yep.
And in there you have a bunch of recipes, yes?
I do. I have a ton of recipes, and 3 of the chapters are specifically for, it's interesting, with the Smart Mom's Guide to Essential Oils, but really I built it for women or wrote it for women. So there's 3 chapters literally just devoted to women's health, and that is for emotional well-being, self-care, and women's hormones. But if I had to choose 2 oils, I call them my kind of that combination, that overwhelm blend. It's just 1 drop of lavender and 1 drop of bergamot. And those have both been researched to reduce stress levels, lower cortisol levels, and lower your heart rate. And all you do is, I like to make them in a little roller. So I do 20 drops of of lavender, 20 drops of bergamot. I top it off with a carrier oil like jojoba oil, grapeseed oil, whatever you prefer. And then I just have women carry this little emergency overwhelm and stress reset blend. They put it on their wrist, they put it on their palms, and I have this amazing technique. I call it the power of the pause. And all I have women do is they put the oils on their palms, rub their palms together. So I have this blend on me.
I hear you rubbing.
Yeah, I am rubbing. And then what they do is they take just a deep, deep breath and they hold that breath for 3 seconds. So like this. And hold it for 1, 2, 3, and then breathe everything out. Like as if they're blowing out all of the stressors. And not only are those oils having a profound effect on the limbic system of the brain, but also deep breathing techniques we know help to lower cortisol levels as well. So it's like knocking out 2 birds with 1 stone. That is by far the fastest and most effective way to lower your stress levels that I know of.
Wow. I look at this and, I'm always looking for the fast hacks for anything. So what about hormone balance? Because this is such a big one. And I know so many women are scared of supplementing with hormones. They're looking for other things they can do instead. And I think from what I've heard you talking about with using essential oils to help with hormone balance, this could either help someone who is doing bioidenticals or help someone who doesn't want to go that route. So, I mean, is this something that people can use, and what would be some recommendations there?
Absolutely. So you're right. A lot of women who come to me, just like they come to you, they're so concerned about getting on slathering hormones. And I always say, it's one thing to slather hormones on our skin, to fix any imbalance. But I always want to know, well, what was the core reason why we got in trouble to begin with? And it rarely is, hormones themselves. Usually it's toxicity. Usually it's your liver, or it's again, external factors like stress, mood issues. And so my favorite go-to oils for really helping to create balance with estrogen and progesterone are going to be clary sage, bergamot, lavender, and geranium. Those are going to be your go-to oils to helping to create hormone synergy in the body. And it's really about using them on a regular basis. I think just like everything else, we eat well on a regular basis, we sleep well on a regular basis, and we ensure that we're using, high quality oils that are going to help and support our body's endocrine system. And when I find that stress is one of the biggest culprits that get us in trouble for hormones, at least for me it was, I had adrenal deregulation, I was chronically fatigued, putting on weight for what felt like no reason, but really it was because I was a Tasmanian devil in lip gloss is really what it came down to.
Really?
Yeah. I found like if I could just control my stress levels, I could get myself out of trouble. I could help rebalance my progesterone and estrogen levels. For me, it was estrogen imbalance because I was highly stressed all the time. So when I was using oils, I was specifically using them for reducing stress, but also I was using them throughout the day to really help my body create that equilibrium, that homeostasis. But I do have a hormone synergy blend if you'd like me to share it.
Yes, of course.
Okay.
Oh, and just for everybody listening, you're going to want the show notes because I know you're going through all these and people are probably driving and going, So show notes will be at jjvirgin.com/Dr. Mariza, and that's spelled Mariza. DrMariza. But also you're going to be giving people a bunch of recipes too. So let's dive into this one.
Absolutely. So again, I do love the 10 mil rollers because it is so easy to take them on the go. And again, JJ, like you said, you and I are very much cut from the same cloth in the sense that I need fast and effective. I want to say that in the sense that I want something that's fast and effective, but it's going to be healthy for me as well. I mean, clearly coffee, espresso shots, they're fast and effective too. But after a certain time of the day, they're not serving us, and particularly not serving us as women. So what I love about the oils, and particularly this blend, I use this for PMS symptoms. I use this blend for stress, for mood support, for memory and brain fog. I mean, it really covers the gamut all within this one blend. Okay, so again, 10 ml roller bottle. You can carry it in your little purse. You can put it in your pocket. Take it with you on the go. It's 10 drops of clary sage because clary sage is that hormone balancing essential oil. 8 drops of lavender, because lavender is the jack of all trades. It is one of those oils that just has multiple functions in the body. 8 drops of geranium, 4 drops of bergamot, because it's the oil of self-love, and then 4 drops of ylang-ylang, which is my favorite libido booster, but it's also great for managing stress and emotional upheaval. You just you put all of these in a blend in that little roller, top it off with a carrier, and then I recommend using it 2 to 3 times a day on pulse points or literally right over your ovaries, which is about 2 to 3 inches below the belly button. You know, one of my favorite stories is my mom was, I was picking her up from the airport, and she had left this blend at home on accident, and she was using it for hot flashes. She was using it for stress, for all kinds of things that she was going through. She was in menopause. And I remember I pull up to pick her up at the airport. She doesn't even say anything to me. She just gets into my purse. She gets into my little oil bag. She pulls out my Synergy Blend, and she just pulls down her pants and starts rolling it over her ovaries. And finally says like, "Oh, hey honey, how are you doing?" And you just basically takes the blend for me for the weekend, because it was that fast to work on her.
So this carrier, because you just whipped this out, by the way. Like, what is a carrier? What are some different carriers? Because you just said add a carrier. I'm like, what's that?
So a carrier is basically a fatty oil, like avocado oil, fractionated coconut oil. It dilutes the blend, but also it makes it so that the oils go kind of deeper into the tissue. You know, essential oils are volatile aromatic constituents. And so when you put them on the skin, if there's not a carrier oil with them, a fatty oil, they tend to evaporate before they really get into the tissue. So when you have a fatty oil, like a coconut oil or a avocado oil, grapeseed oil, it allows for the oils to actually stay suspended. And because they're lipophilic, they begin to absorb into the skin and into the tissue.
So, you know what, you're going through all this stuff, and I keep thinking to myself, I know I used essential oils, and it was kind of, I'd seen them before I used a massage, or maybe you're doing like a meditation class and they do some essential oils, but I'd really never given them any thought or really thought that they were that strong or powerful. And then they were one of the first things we were able to do with Grant, that one of my doctor friends brought in, who was using them at Cedars-Sinai in their brain trauma unit. And that's when I went, wow, these are not just like a little yummy scent to be used in a massage. You know, like, where does this all, let's like totally backtrack, but because it seems like essential oils are just getting hotter and hotter and hotter. And like, how long have they been around? What all can they be used for? And, you know, what should we be looking for when we're getting essential oils?
Great question. So the oils have been around, really, honestly, JJ, they were our first medicine. You know, plants have always been medicine. I think about food being medicine. One of the things I love you say is, you know, our bodies are a chemistry lab is really what it comes down to, especially when we eat food. But it's that same concept when we're using plants for medicinal purposes as well. And so oils have been used for thousands of years, from India to China, all over to the Middle East. And then, you know, I would say that they really began to gain popularity in the early 20th century when we started to learn that oils had these really powerful healing properties. You think about melaleuca that was being used to kill gangrene. You know, they're antiseptic, antimicrobial. Lavender for sleep, you know, fennel and ginger and peppermint for digestive issues. We even see clove and oregano for dealing with things like candida. And so more and more research is being stacked on the oils. But I think the big reason why they've become so popular recently is because a lot of people are sick of being sick and tired. And a lot of our families, you know, I have family members who are on medications and sometimes unnecessarily on meds. And what I'm finding is that a lot of families, a lot of moms want something more natural for their kids. And if these are as effective or even more effective than our allopathic counterparts, then why wouldn't we choose the more natural option? Now, with that said, that doesn't mean that all essential oils are created equally. You know, a lot of oils are used in all different types of products. What a lot of people don't know is that what makes Coca-Cola the flavor that it is, which is pure poison, but is essential oils. They're actually what is the flavor profile for Coca-Cola today. And so they're used across the gamut. And I would never recommend the oils that are being used to make Coca-Cola or a lot of the lotions out there. So you always want to make sure that you have a high quality essential oil. So what you're looking for in that is you're researching the company, you're seeing where their oils come from, so where their origin come from, but also you're looking to see what type of purification practices they're using. Do they use chirality testing or gas chromatography and spectroscopy? Are they using any of those types of testing standards? Do they have a third-party researcher that's involved in the testing of these oils? Because if parents and if moms, if women are wanting to use these oils for hormones or digestive issues or immune system or even earaches, you want to make sure that you're using an oil that's actually going to perform for you. But luckily, there are a lot of companies out there that are doing the good work, that have the great research, that ensure that the oils are going to get you the result that you're looking for. I think I answered all the questions.
Yes, I know. I just kind of threw you a whole bunch of it once. It was interesting when I had this Dr. Ann Meyer come over, and she brought all these amazing oils, and we were using them in the hospital with Grant. And then I went to get more lavender because we were using it on all of his scarring, like everywhere. And then I ran out of it. And so I just ran over and went and got some more from Whole Foods. And she came in and saw it, and it was like I brought Coca-Cola in. She's like, "What is this?" I'm like,
yeah, I had a good friend. We were at a party, and I had busted out a jasmine oil, and jasmine is such an expensive oil, and really hard to get because it's hand-picked at dawn. These petals have to be picked before the sun comes out, or right before the sun comes out, to get the most of that oil. So I was putting it on her. I had a really high quality pure oil of jasmine. It smells, oh my gosh, so incredible. But then she went to Whole Foods a couple days later and saw that there was this jasmine oil, I don't know, maybe $10, $15. And a drop of jasmine oil is like that. That's the price of a drop of jasmine oil. So she puts it on, and it smells pretty normal like jasmine. But within about 5 minutes of her wearing it around the store, immediately it started smelling like cat piss. It's basically what she said. I hope I could say that on the podcast.
You just did.
Okay, I just did. So it smelled like cat pee. And so she was like, that's when she called me the next day, and she's like, okay, I get it. I see now that they're not all created equal. And very, very quickly did she realize that she needed a more higher quality oil.
Yes, we do not want to use oils that smell like cat pee.
No, we do not.
No. All right, let's talk about what you're giving everybody, because I'm sure everybody listening has been going, all right, oh my gosh, TMI, what do? I need the recipes. And I know you can get a lot of them in the Smart Guide's Mom's Guide to Essential Oils, but you're also giving everyone a super cool gift. So let's tell them what they're getting. I love this gift, and I think your audience is going to love it as well. So it's my Vitality Bundle. It's designed to literally create more energy, to get good nutrition into your body, and to develop some really powerful self-care rituals. So it's 3 guides. It's my matcha green smoothie guide. It is my top 10 energy boosting tips that are instantly available to put to use. And then it's my 11 wellness rituals, morning and evening rituals with essential oil recipes and a ton of information in terms of like how to reprogram how you're taking care of your body every single day. So the purpose of these guides is really to move the needle around your energy and your vitality so that you're feeling incredible. Fab. And you'll be able to get all that again at jjvirgin.com/Dr. Mariza. And thank you so much for dropping so much info so quickly on our show. I super appreciate you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for letting me share.
Oh, it's fantastic. You'll be back. Must be back. Yay. Alrighty. So after the break, I'll be answering listeners' questions. So stay with me.
When you make a small change to something you do every day, the impact over time can be huge. And when it comes to breakfast, you don't want to blow it because your breakfast sets the pace for your entire day. That's why JJ created the all-in-one plant-based breakfast shake to start your day right. Whether you are a vegan, vegetarian, or just looking to consume more plant-based foods, this breakfast shake is for you. It comes in 3 delicious flavors, vanilla, chocolate, and chai, and helps give you sustained energy, cuts cravings, and can melt pounds from your waistline. Visit jjvirgin.com/products to shift your fat loss and energy into high gear today.
Welcome back. This is the time where I answer a listener's question, and hopefully you're popping on to my Facebook and Instagram lives. So Facebook is JJ Virgin Official, Instagram jj.virgin. We're also starting to do a lot more over on my YouTube channel, JJ Virgin, and you can leave questions and interact in all of those spots. We grab questions that relate really well to any subject we're talking about and bring them on over here. So this one from Katie was perfect. JJ, why do I have sugar cravings? And what can I do about them? So we talked a little bit already about one of the key reasons you get sugar cravings, and that is stress. Why? Because stress lowers your serotonin and your dopamine. Serotonin's the stop sugar. When your serotonin's up, you don't want as much sugar. When your dopamine is up, you're not as hungry. So when those two get bombarded with cortisol and dump, guess what? You want sugar and you want to eat more. And plus, when you're under stress, your body's going, oh my gosh, run from the tiger. I need quick energy, right? So, and it starts one of the other things stress does is really start a blood sugar roller coaster. And when blood sugar then drops, you reach for the candy and sugar again, because that is what can boost serotonin in the brain. So stress is a biggie, biggie, biggie. Genetics also come into play. We have people who have sweet tooths or sweet tasters, and often the more sugar they eat, the more they want, which brings me to the third one. Exposure equals preference. The more sugar you eat, the more sugar you want. And even artificial sweeteners, and even some of my acceptable sweeteners like stevia and xylitol and erythritol and monk fruit and allulose, because the sweet nature can wake up your sweet tooth, which is why I use in the sugar impact diet, I have you taper down your sugar impact. I first have you identify where sugar's sneaking in through a sneaky sugar inventory. Then I have you taper it down through my first part of the program, where I swap out high sugar impact foods for medium ones. Then I have you transition to totally low sugar impact to really reclaim your taste buds so that you can appreciate spicy and savory and sour. And then we go back and challenge that sugar, where you're going to go, blech, it tastes too sweet. So it can be done, even if it's genetically that you have a sweet tooth. And I love the idea of incorporating essential oils in here, because I think that these are issues, sugar, quote from my buddy, Dr. Mark Hyman, sugar is our number one recreational drug of choice. And so it is super, super important to respect that and not just try to do this like by going cold turkey, bring in as much support as you possibly can. And speaking of support, I want to do a shout out to One Kirky D from the USA for their 5-star review, The Absolute Truth Behind Fitness and Fat Loss on iTunes. And I really appreciate these reviews. So I wanted to make sure I did a little gratitude shout out. So One Kirky D writes, I've searched for, applied, and struggled with many diets, but JJ teaches the things that really work. Finally, I feel good before, during, and after I eat, because I now know how to eat the right foods for me. Even better, I know how to exercise in a way that rocks my body with burst training instead of spending hours at the gym with frustrating results. Listening to this podcast is so helpful in teaching me new tips and tricks to implement as I go. Thanks, JJ. All right. And thank you again. And if you haven't done a review over on iTunes, can I just throw out a big ask? I would love to acknowledge you on air as well for that. So love to feature you in the gratitude portion of my show. And thank you so much for being a part of the community. All righty. See you next week.
That's all for this episode of the JJ Virgin Lifestyle Show, which marks another step towards a healthier body and mind. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe to the show, and we'll talk to you next week.